I'm walking over to Mel Carson's office, Delightful Communications, to talk with him. He's been in the industry literally before there was an industry. So it'll be very exciting to actually sit down and talk with him about his history in the SEO field and the SEM field, and also talk to him about what he's up to today. So that should be fun. A nice little walk. See the buildings behind me. I guess the ocean on the other side. So it's pretty cool, and we'll see how this goes. This video is sponsored by Rank Ranger, an all-in-one SEO platform that offers dozens of customizable tools and reports. Check them out at rankranger.com. Thank you for doing this with me, Mel. I appreciate it.
Barry, it is always a pleasure to see you.
It's great. It's an awesome office you have here.
Thank you very much.
Only problem is I walked here, so I'm a bit out of breath.
Yeah, this is our office is in Pioneer Square in Seattle, so it's the oldest part of Seattle.
Looks pretty old.
And it makes me feel at home, like I'm back in London.
How long have you been out of London?
8 years.
8 years.
Moved here 8 years ago. Yeah, I get back 2 or 3 times a year. Samuel Johnson said in 1777, if you're tired of London, you're tired of life. And that is true. So I try and get back there as often as I can.
So for those who may not know who you are, could you just give a little brief background of yourself?
Sure. My name is Mel Carson, and I'm the founder and CEO of a modern marketing and digital PR firm here in Seattle called Delightful Communications. I started my career back in the year 2000 with a company called LookSmart, which was a web directory at the time. Worked at Microsoft, helped launch adCenter, now Bing Ads, and Microsoft Advertising, and then moved to Seattle with my beautiful wife Ashley in 2011, 2012. We'll talk about what happened then, but then I started Delightful Communications and haven't looked back. Have a really interesting company, interesting clients, and do a lot of work in digital and PR.
Awesome. So I think I first got to know you probably when you became adCenter rep.
Yep.
In Webmaster World.
Yep.
Also on other websites as well.
Yep.
How did that come about? How did they decide, or you decide, that we need a person in the forums talking to the, I guess, advertisers that do PPC on Microsoft?
So I joined Microsoft in 2005 to help launch adCenter. Initially, I was the pan-European, I was the first employee in London on the account team, and I was the pan-European account manager. But it became rapidly apparent that adCenter had some opportunities back then from a platform perspective, because everybody thought it would immediately come out the gate being at parity with Google, Google AdWords. So it was just when that book, Naked Conversations, I'm trying to remember the author, he was former Microsoft evangelist, had come out, who talked a lot about blogging and getting involved in forums and things like that. So a lady called Jen Cregan collared me and said, look, we want to set up a community team, we're going to have a blog, and then we want you to get involved in the forums and really help answer customers' questions. And so out of that, there was Carolyn Miller in Seattle, who was adCenter 411, and I was adCenter EU. And when we launched this thing, I remember being so tickled when I got introduced, I think by Dixon Jones on Webmaster World, and then you picked it up on SEO Roundtable and said, this is pretty cool, in your understated way.
Back then it was like one line, this is what happened. You were not before Google Guy. No, right? No. When did you start adCenter? No, you were after Google Guy.
Yeah, but it was before Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, that is how old we are.
Wow, Dixon. You and Dixon probably go way back.
Yeah, we do. He used to show up at a lot of the events for his agency Receptional, and we got to know him. My time at LookSmart, he claims to have come in to try and help them do their own SEO, even though they were a search engine, which was bizarre. But I love Dixon, go a long way back with him. He used to wear a white hat to all the conferences.
Yeah, he was a black hat, right? Back in the day.
He may have pushed the boundaries.
I think everybody back then did something that you weren't supposed to do.
But the boundaries have moved and changed.
Yeah, there were no rules back then. Just do whatever you want. Okay, so as adCenter rep, I remember writing a blog post, or you probably remember me writing a blog post, that you went kind of AWOL for a year, like in 2008. You didn't post on Webmaster World, specifically on Webmaster World, for a year. You announced that you're going to post on Webmaster World. You posted a bunch, and then silence.
I think that was there was some priorities internally by about that time where we were trying to build our own forums. There was the adcentercommunity.com and there was a blog, and my time at 2008 was a little distracted, spending a lot more time setting up the Twitter accounts and the Facebook pages and stuff like that. But if you go back to that article, which is still up, I do give a very reasonable response of where I'd gone and what I'd been doing. But
so look it up. You could Bing it.
Yeah, Bing it.
Bing
AdCenter EU AWOL.
Yes, long tail keywords. And then something in mid 2012 happened. You left Microsoft.
Yeah. So I'd been very happy being AdCenter's digital marketing evangelist. So I was running around the world, kind of doing what you're doing, vlogging for Microsoft, doing what?
I did my vlogging smile.
Did you? So I'd appear at Advertising Week in New York or the Cannes Lions Advertising Festival in the south of France. That's interviewing people and really just creating content that was what we now call it delightful, aura, authentic, useful, relevant and actionable. And then 2012, Steve Ballmer was still at the helm of Microsoft, and they needed to make some cuts, and 5,000 people across the company, across the world got cut. I was one of them. It wasn't anything personal, and I didn't take it personally. Got laid off, wrote a blog post about it that went viral, and then just all these people coming out in support. And I was called up by Google and Facebook and Yahoo and a whole bunch of agencies, but I thought, this might be my moment. This might be my time, Barry.
And was it?
Yeah.
Looking back at it?
It was. Well, what happened, not a lot of people know this, but overnight, I got DM'd by Dixon Jones, who said, listen, I will pay you cold hard cash for you to spend a day a week being an ambassador and helping Majestic tell its story, Majestic SEO, majestic.com, tell its story in the US. So the fact that he came out, with a, nice tidy sum that made me think, okay, if I start my own thing, this has propelled me somewhat and will give me some air cover for a few months while I, bring on some clients for Delightful. And so that was a beautiful relationship for, I think, five or 6 years with Majestic.
That's what I love about the community, the search marketing community. It's like, it seems like one person's down, there's always somebody there to back the person up, and it's a beautiful thing. So you then started Delightful, which we're in right now. It's an amazing space, like I said before. And you guys specialize in what here exactly?
Well, when we first started, we talked about this earlier. A lot of people in the industry and a lot of people in other PR firms actually said, don't bother growing the company. Just stay, trade off your name, be a consultant, just do strategy and consulting and stuff, because that's just way more easier. So we did that for 2 or 3 years. We got hired back immediately by Microsoft to help with some of their marketing.
How did that feel when Microsoft called you and said, hey, we want to hire you again?
It was great. I mean, that would be an option. That's why I didn't burn any bridges when I left.
Okay.
I mean, they're right on our front door.
Right.
Why would I, I use the analogy of why would I urinate on my front lawn when something like that happens, when I had the opportunity to go back. I knew that a lot of the stuff that we would do, they would need some support. And they'd also need some of, my intricate knowledge of the industry as well.
And they're still a client of yours through today?
7 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, what we decided after I went on a professional coaching course actually to up the energy and start saying yes to stuff. So now we do demand gen for events and webinars, social media advertising. We do a lot of thought leadership and PR and personal branding. A lot of content creation, video, infographics, stuff like that. A lot of stuff that really interests us, and a lot of projects. More recently, we had a local, very famous sports player come to us who was interested in us helping to build his brand. So we've gone into partnering with other people to help build out a website and things like that. So we badge ourselves as modern marketing and digital PR because we want to push the envelopes and do crazy things like we did for Majestic, and 3D print the internet on the International Space Station.
That was your idea?
Like that. Yeah.
The 3D, and then I think somebody else recently did something in space with.
Yeah, that was OnCrawl.
OnCrawl. They stole that from you.
They did not steal that.
Did you send them a cease and desist?
No, they did.
No, they didn't. Up there to shoot them down.
It was a
Star
different.
Wars.
It was a different. It was a different idea, and one that was actually very cool. If you look at the video of that iPad going literally up into space,
I think Dixon was on it.
It was pretty. Dixon was. Yeah, he's one of their.
Were you on there?
No.
They left. You really should have sent the ship up there to shoot it down.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing, Brandon. If you sent a person, if you sent Dixon up, really, that would be cool. Dixon, you want to go to space?
But that's what we did with Bill Hartzer. When the sculpture,
Right.
and I've got the sculpture. This is a copy of the sculpture that went up to space, that we printed in space. The idea behind the 3D printing was Dixon, but then I met a guy who was putting a 3D printer in space. So we just decided to combine the two.
And that's like one clever example of what you guys do here.
Yeah, yeah.
What's another thing you want to like? I'm curious.
Another clever.
Yeah, another something like what you're
thing?
proud of. I mean, there's probably lots of things, but
I'm proud of the team that we've developed here. Bianca's been with us for 5 years. Kylie, who's over there, has been with us for 2 years, and we keep building a team that people just keep coming back and wanting more and more of our work. I think because it was interesting. I went back to a lot of our peers, from Microsoft, who've gone on to be CMOs and VPs of marketing at big companies. And I went back to them and I said, what makes a really good agency? You must work with a lot of them. And they said, creativity and agility. If you can move fast and be quick and not nickel and dime me and not have to go through rounds of, it's like just to get something done, then right, yeah. I love you. If you can be creative and come to me with more creative ideas, like putting the, 3D in space. I mean, the Microsoft IoT team that we work with, we're running 28 events for them globally this year. We got a lot of the leads through social media, and you would have thought, and that's a long lead time, for something like an IoT infrastructure. So, yeah, it's just pushing the envelope and just trying to be different and stand out.
It's amazing. All right, let's talk a little about community and the search community. So recently I remember very well, obviously, you emceed the Search Awards.
Yep.
Was it your first time emceeing or no? You've done it before?
It's my fifth.
Fifth time.
Yeah.
I remember
I retired.
You're done?
Yes.
Who's taking over?
I've heard it's Dixon Jones.
Dixon, good, okay. Good. He won't do as good a job as you, obviously. I mean, we know that.
Obviously.
I'm not going to tell Dixon to watch it. I want to see if he actually watches this. So why'd you do it for so many years?
Honestly, the story was the first year they had some third-rate celebrity from CNN who kept on saying, and the award for the best CEO campaign. And I just said to Nikki Wake at the UK thing, look, don't pay, these celebrities to come up who aren't invested in the industry. Look, I'll do it for free as long as you pay for my hotel room. And we ended up doing it for 5 years, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun seeing all those fantastic, people coming up on stage and winning those awards. As you did. Why haven't you got your tiara?
It's hard to travel. It weighs so much, I don't know. It was an amazing show. I hate networking events, but that was amazing.
Yeah.
So, and what else in the community? You're very active on Twitter and social media. Mm-hmm. How do you have time for all that, or you don't?
Well, I make time. It's not like I've got TweetDeck on a separate monitor over here or whatever. I'm sure that's your job. To know what's going on. But yeah, I dip in and out. I'm constantly in awe of, I might be speaking at 3 events this year, and I watch the Casie Gillettes and the Greg Giffords and the Christi Olson. Christi we work with, that's kind of her job, running around doing all those things. But I just find it exhausting just watching people do all that stuff and knowing that you got up at 3 o'clock this morning to write articles and stuff.
It's only like 6 o'clock in New York, so it's not so bad.
But I love the community. I learn a lot from them. It's great, the face-to-face time that, maybe once a quarter I get to see with people.
Well, the community loves you too, so thank you. How can people learn more about you, follow you and stuff? You could Bing me or Google Mel Carson, and you'll find there's melcarson.com, there's Delightful Communications, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of thing. Do you keep Facebook private or?
No. Facebook's been amazing for awareness. We do a lot of personal branding for people.
But you post pictures of your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't worry about that? My wife won't let me post any family pictures.
If
People hate me. So.
I don't. There's nothing nefarious about them when we don't. There's no naked kid pics and there's no.
No, of course not.
So
you're not worried. You
do.
think people should be posting personal things about their families?
I think they need to make a choice, and they need to make a conscious choice over which platforms, which mix of personal versus professional they should use. Some people with Facebook, it's locked down. They don't want anybody at work knowing anything about it. It's just for friends and family, and they'll post stuff. I think it's an individual choice. Mine, I want people to know that I have a life outside of Delightful and the world of digital marketing, and that I do some cool, fun stuff. And I've got, I'm English. I've got friends and family all over the world who kind of want to know what's going on. So,
could you share your credit card number with us, please?
It is.
I forgot it.
Yeah, I got a new one.
He's very transparent. He would have shared it, but he just doesn't remember it. Anyway, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll take a look at the office.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, everybody. You're brilliant.
Great meeting Mel, talking to him about what he does for his clients, and I'm back at MozCon now.